Jesus spoke of forgiveness, radical forgiveness, and he taught the importance of forgiveness through a parable about a man who owed his king a vast sum of money. Jesus taught, "The kingdom of heaven is like this. A king wanted to settle accounts with his servants, and a man who owed him a vast sum of money was brought in. He had no way to repay this debt, so he, his wife, and his children were going to be sold. But the man fell to his knees and begged the king to be patient with him and he would repay him. And the king had compassion on the man and canceled his debt. Well, as the man went out, he found a fellow servant that owed him a tiny sum of money, and he grabbed him and choked him, demanding that he repay what he owed. His fellow servant fell to his knees and begged him to be patient with him, but he refused and had him thrown into prison. When the king heard this, he called him back in and said, 'You wicked servant, I forgave you all you owed because you begged me to. Shouldn't you have had mercy on your fellow servant, just as I had on you?' In anger, the king turned him over to the jailers to be tortured until he should pay back all he owed. And Jesus concluded by saying, 'This is how my heavenly Father will treat each of you unless you forgive your brother from your heart.'" Now, if you understand this parable and understand that for me, there is no other story in the Bible that has greater personal meaning, then you've gone a long way toward understanding me. I look at myself and these hands, and I am keenly aware and reminded each day of what they have done. And I'm aware of how much I have been forgiven. And I will not make the same mistake as that unmerciful servant. And in that spirit, I say publicly what I have already done privately in my heart several years ago. By the teaching of Christ and following His eternal example, I wholeheartedly, 100% without reservation, forgive all those who have sinned against me. My father, mother, my beloved Teresa, for the wrongs she committed against me in 2003, 4, and 5. My ex-wife Faith, who, among other things, lied about me, telling others that I deceived her about my criminal past in hopes of ending our marriage in an annulment instead of divorce. Kathleen, for the injury I haven't spoke of. My ex-business partner David. To my sister, time has not allowed me to discuss this very important relationship. We were once enemies, but in the last 12 years have grown to be close friends, and I cherish you. And one day Mom and Dad will not be here and we'll only have each other. And to ensure that peace and love endure, I want you to know that I forgive you for the things you said and did in your younger years. And I want you to know that Morrell did the same before he died. And many, many more people who have injured me to lesser degrees, I forgive you. I will not hold these things against you now or ever, not openly nor secretly in my heart. I seek neither vengeance, justice, nor compensation. Likewise, I ask for forgiveness for the wrongs I have committed against you, and please know that I can't possibly name them all. Against my father and mother for the grief and pain I've caused them, and for not honoring them properly in times past. Against my beloved Teresa for wrongs I did to her, and against Teresa, Faith, Kathleen, and Chrissy for my short temper, lack of patience, understanding, selfishness, for not being the man I should have been when I could have been. And to Faith especially for not being the husband I should have been, for not being the spiritual head of our household, and not having the qualities a husband should have as taught by God and demonstrated by Christ. And to Daphne and Barron, your lives were affected for the same reasons. And to my sister Karen, I ask you to forgive me for the things I've said and done toward you in times past. To the Army, my country, I apologize for not serving you honorably. That is a stain I don't know how to erase. And there are many others I couldn't possibly name and might not even be aware of. I ask you with all of your heart to forgive me. It is in our nature to withhold forgiveness and seek vengeance, but I forgive freely and seek it so that we may start over, fresh, a clean slate, so that we can look at each other as we once did, as our Father in heaven would like for us to see each other. Fellow brothers and sisters, flawed and imperfect, but forgiven and made righteous by His sacrifice and grace, so that we might be one with Him and one with each other.